Hi guys, it's Jazz, and I am here in Tampa Bay for Tampa Bay Comic Con 2024. There are so many amazing costumes, vendors, and celebrities here, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen this weekend. Let's go day one! What is your name and what do you do for NASA?
Hi, my name's Joe. I'm a launch integration engineer. So for what I do with NASA is whenever we have a problem or something that needs to get fixed for launch countdown, I work on that. I bring the team together, various aspects of our very large team, and make sure we have the right people talking the problem so we can safely, successfully launch the mission and launch the crew.
That's awesome. What is the plan for NASA in the next 2 to 3 years? What are some of the stuff that they want to accomplish?
So right now we're preparing for our Artemis 2 mission, and we just got our first part of the vehicle. Our core stage is at the Kennedy Space Center. We're starting to stack it and build it and get ready to go. We're going to build the vehicle, so stack it all together. We're going to test out, make sure every component's working, and we're going to start interacting with the crew. So Artemis 2 is our first crewed mission on this program. We're going to go around the moon a couple times and come back Earth, and they're going to test our life support equipment on the capsule. And they're going to be the first people who've ever been from the planet Earth. So it's going to be a really cool mission. And right now we're targeting September of 2025 for this mission. So right now we're just getting ready to go to hopefully make history with these crew members.
That's awesome. Keep that date in mind, okay? September of 2025, right?
Yes, ma'am. September 2025.
Awesome. Do you know any of the astronauts that are going up?
Yeah, so we have already selected our 4 crew members. We have Lee Wiseman, Christina Cook, Victor Glover is our pilot, and we have a Canadian astronaut, Jeremy Hansen, and it's an international partnership on the Artemis program. So many countries are part of the things called Artemis Accord. So it's not just the U.S. going; it's the entire world going this time.
That's so awesome. Would you ever want to go to space?
I'm a little bit too tall, actually. I'm 3 inches taller than the cutoff, so I would love to go, but I'd be a little cramped. So I'm gonna just stay here and launch the guys and the crew and help them make the history. And I'll just be a good bystander for it.
That works. I didn't know there was a height requirement for space, honestly.
Yeah, it's a cramped capsule, and gotta make sure you see how the airlines all day for a couple of weeks. So
No worries. Well, thank you so much for that.
worries.
And I'm super excited to see what happens for NASA in the next couple years. Hey guys, I am here with
Emmanuel Vaugier.
what got you into acting?
Well, I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada, and growing up I was a huge fan of the Back to the Future franchise as well as Family Ties. And Michael J. Fox, if you didn't already know, grew up in a suburb called Burnaby, which was like 20 minutes from where I lived. And I was a huge fan, and I was like, well, if he can do it, and he's from here, I can do it too. And that's sort of where the bug was sort of planted, and then it's gone on from there.
That's so cool. My brother loves the Back to the Future movies,
So cool, yeah.
that's so cool. Do you have a favorite role that you've played?
I would have to say I loved playing Mia on 2.5 Men. That was just fun. It was lighthearted, and I got to go to work and laugh every day. So I like that.
That's great. Laughter sometimes can make it so much easier.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite line that you've ever said in anything that you've been in?
Yes. There's one from Lost Girl, and I don't know. Well, I'll just say it. Where the Morrigan, my character, says "scissor already." I thought that was a pretty epic line.
That is, oh my gosh.
I didn't know if I could say it or not, but I'm like, well, it was on TV, and that's like PG-ish.
It works. Can you tell me what your name is and what you do?
So I'm Calvin. I'm the show manager of Sir Henry's Haunted Trail. We're a local haunt within Plant City, Central Florida area. We have 3 haunted trails, a haunted hayride, axe throwing, 2 escape rooms, tons of concessions and food trucks and everything like that. So it's a great time.
What do you scare people while you're there?
Of course, yeah. So as being upper management, I do as well act as everybody else does. Because how am I supposed to tell these cool guys what to do if I don't do it myself, So
Makes sense. What is your favorite thing about Halloween?
So I grew up in the Midwest, so I grew up with all the seasons and everything like that. So just that nice crisp autumn air and just the vibe of Halloween, which is what we try to emulate out here. We go for that classic Halloween feel. So we have this big, huge common area that's full of pumpkins and music and fog and everything like that. It's just a grand old time. I like the atmosphere of Halloween.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
if y'all are in the Central Florida area, definitely make sure to check this out. It sounds like an amazing time. So what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Jason Pope. I am a 3D printing specialist. I work almost exclusively in clear resin, and my handicraft is creating crystal clear figurines that are all hand painted and custom made.
That's amazing. 3D printing, what got you started with that?
Accident more than anything. I used to do scale models, wanted to work with dioramas, bought a 3D printer so I could make accessories, discovered the clear resin, and it all went downhill from there.
I think they're super cool looking. Which one is your favorite that you've made?
My favorite is my Bulbasaur. Not my favorite Pokemon in general, but this green on his bulb is the prettiest green I have ever seen in my life.
I was thinking that when you brought that over. That green is super pretty.
So this one is my favorite. This was the one that made me fall in love with the clear process.
I really like that one. Is that like a bestseller?
Honestly, oddly, no. He's a very common, regular seller, but he doesn't have quite the same punch as my Charizards do. Those are the ones that fly off the table, no pun intended.
Do you make any other ones that aren't just Pokemon?
Absolutely, absolutely. I also work, one of my other big sellers is this nine-tailed fox from Naruto. This is Kurama.
I like that red color too.
Beautiful red color.
Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on day one. It was such an amazing time and I am super excited for day two, so stay tuned. Bye! Hey guys, it's Jazz. It is day 2 at Tampa Bay Comic Con and look at the crowd. I am so excited to see the costume contest later and all of these amazing people that are going to be in it, and some of them even made their costumes. So I'm so excited, and let's go see what day 2 holds.
Hello, my name is Miko Hughes, probably most well known from Pet Sematary, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Full House, Kindergarten Cop, things like that.
I used to watch those shows all the time when I was younger, so that is awesome.
Thank you.
Do you have a favorite role that you've ever played?
I think Dylan in Wes Craven's New Nightmare was my favorite because Freddy was such an icon, and being 7 and getting to fight a supervillain and live was just like the coolest thing I could have ever hoped for. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Like, that's super crazy at such a young age too. Was it hard to get into acting when you were younger, or was it more natural?
I was so little when I got into it that I don't really remember it. I feel very fortunate. I was kind of lucky that my mom did all of the work. I think I was just right place, right time. I was able to pull it off and got kind of a good start. So it worked out well.
Well, thank you, Mom. That's
Yes,
perfect.
always.
Do you have a favorite phrase that you've ever said as one of your characters?
Gosh, I don't know if it is my favorite, but I know it's the most infamous from Kindergarten Cop when I said, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. I'll never live that down. But when I was younger, kids, you know, they can be mean. They would tease me about it. I hated it for years, but now with enough distance, I kind of just own it. It's funny. So
Yeah. Just embrace it.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anybody that wants to get into acting?
Oh, don't. Kidding. It's hard. It's very hard. Do it for the passion of do it for the love of the game. don't do it to expect to be a star. I think that's the better mentality. If it happens, it happens. But yeah, it's a tough industry. You have to have thick skin and be prepared for a lot of rejection. It can take 1,000 no's, but all you need is one yes.
I totally agree. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This is fun.
Hi, I'm Chris Edgerly, voice actor and voice of Pathfinder in Apex Legends, Hedon in Naruto Shippuden, and many others.
That is a lot. How did you get into voice acting?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to crack my brothers up doing different voices. Then I would crack up my classmates and then strangers. And that continued well into college. And then I discovered acting class in college, and I discovered stand-up comedy. So I started doing stand-up when I was in college, and I would try out different voices on stage, and the audience seemed to like it. And then after college, I decided to pursue acting and voice acting and stand-up comedy. And I kind of got a real professional start in my hometown of Savannah, Georgia, but then in Orlando. And I lived in Orlando for about 4 years. And I would do different parts here and there. I'd play different clubs. And as I got tired of traveling on the road, by then I'd moved to Los Angeles, and I managed to find a voice acting agent. And I just kind of segued into voice acting only since I'd say about 2002, 2003.
That's very impressive. Do you have a favorite character that you've ever voiced?
I love all of my characters because it's the greatest job ever. Right now, the two characters I'm known the most for are Hedon in Naruto Shippuden. And Hedon is kind of like my own voice, but he's a lot more impatient. He gets mad really easily, and he's a homicidal maniac. Not so much me. And the other one I'm known for is Pathfinder, a friendly robot in Apex Legends. And Pathfinder is like me on the best day of my life, always willing to help and always happy. Hi, friends.
The difference in voices is honestly so impressive. I've never been able to understand how people can do that. So do you have any advice to anybody that might want to try voice acting?
Well, I was just telling somebody that voice acting is acting. It's nice if you can do other voices, but it's not a prerequisite. You do need to be able to act. So study the craft, perform in front of an audience whenever you can. It's nice to develop that skill of being able to think on your feet, to ad-lib, to connect with an audience. Even though you're not connecting with a live audience when you're doing voice acting, you are taking direction, and you need to make a connection with the writer, the director, the engineer, just to make that character fly. So study the craft. It isn't just about having a memorable voice. A lot of people have memorable voices, but they don't necessarily know how to act. The actor is the one who will get the work.
It is so nice to meet you. Can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Of course, I'm Sarah Natacheni, voice of Ash Ketchum, Pokemon for the last 17 years. I also play a lot of the Pokemon on the show. I'm Alia, and Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, Yuzuha in Tokyo Revengers, some of the mini puffs in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I go like, "Arr!" That's my deal. Fortnite, a lot of stuff. Nice to meet you all.
My brother plays Fortnite a lot, and we watched a lot of those shows growing up. Do you have a favorite role that you've done or a favorite Pokemon?
Yes, so Ash Ketchum is my favorite role. I've been doing it for 17 years, and he brings a lot of joy to a lot of people all over the world. So Ash Ketchum is like my boy, he's my son. I love doing Baneri. He's my favorite Pokemon.
Do you have a favorite phrase that you've ever said in a show, whether it's your favorite role, but a favorite phrase?
Yes, so on Pokemon, Ash's mom says the journey continues, and I just kind of cry every time I think about it.
Well, Pokemon is definitely still so legendary and iconic, so I love all of this and all your work. Do you have any advice for those that may want to get into voice acting?
Study acting. It's acting and then voice. Doing impressions is useful, it's great, but if you can't sustain a character, a believable character in that voice, you're not going to get very far. You do comedy, do improv, take acting classes, and then start studying with voice people, and be the very best like no one ever was.
I love that advice.
Major advice.
Do you have, what inspired you to become a voice actor?
I was always doing voices and making up languages as a kid, and Russian's my first language, so I I've always been a speech person, and I was always the first person to raise my hand when they were like, we're going to read out loud in class. And I'm like, oh, they got me. So it was always kind of clear to me that I always wanted to be an actor. I always knew that. And voice acting fell into my lap. I didn't really go after it. I just kind of did short films, some live action stuff, some theater, and this kind of happened. I just auditioned for it and happy to get it. So it was meant to be.
Are you guys ready to see some amazing cosplayers? There's a whole lot of talent out there. You guys are in for one hell of a ride.
Number 73, Sister of Battle.
The costume contest just let out, so I saw a ton of super cool costumes, and this Nightmare Foxy one is so impressive. Can you tell me what your favorite thing about this character is?
So my favorite thing about Nightmare Foxy is just how incredibly scary he is. I made this back in October when the movie came out, and I was like, Foxy's one of my favorite characters, but I wanted to take him to the max level of scary. So I decided, hey, the Nightmare version's pretty scary, so that's the version I decided to make.
That's perfect, especially for Halloween. And you said you made this, so how long did this take you to make?
So everything start to finish took about 3 to 4 months, but the last big chunk of work was in the span of 2 months. And it's all made out of different types of foam. The head all up here is polyfoam. The jaw down here is polyfoam as well. All his teeth are molded and casted out of hot glue. His muzzle up here is EVA foam in different thicknesses covered in fiberglass car resin to keep it rigid. And the rest of the body is all EVA foam as well. I got puppeted fingers, which is cool. I just pull strings in my hand, and each string is glued to the fingertip. So that way when I pull the string on the inside, the fingers contract. And I've also got color changing eyes, like the movie. And all the EVA foam just was then covered in red felt that I then weathered with black paint on a dirty sock, basically. That's all I did for the weathering.
That is beyond impressive. Oh my gosh. Can you hit your favorite pose to do in this outfit?
Sure, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was amazing.
Thank you very much.
What is your favorite thing about the costume that you made?
It's from 1975 Jaws, and it is a classic movie. We love classic movies, and even though it's grouped in the horror category, it's definitely an action adventure.
How long did this take you to make?
7 months.
Oh my gosh. What did you make this out of in 7 months?
Cardboard,
And foam.
EVA foam, everything.
It's so impressive. So how long have you been cosplaying for?
I'd say roughly about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Alrighty guys, day 2 just finished up, and it was a spectacular con day. I met so many amazing people, saw so many amazing costumes, and there was literally 35,000 people or more here today. You're watching Teens Want to Know, so stay tuned for day 3. Hi guys, it's Jazz. It is day 3 of Tampa Bay Comic Con, and I'm so excited. It's not as busy as yesterday, but I think that that's even better because I can actually see all the costumes and talk to so many amazing cool people, and I can't wait for you guys to follow along. So let's go, guys. Hey guys, I am here with the first interview for Sunday, day 3. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Katie Cassidy. I have been acting basically my whole life. I even played Baby Jesus in a play once. And you wanted me to talk about my favorite character?
Yes, that'd be great.
You may recognize me from Arrow. I played Laurel Lance, Black Canary, and Black Siren. I would definitely say that character was one of my favorite characters I've ever played. I was on Supernatural. I also played Ruby. That character was very fun too, but Laurel Lance, she really has my heart.
My brother watches all of those Marvel shows. Not Marvel shows, those are DC shows.
I'm like, whoa.
Hold on.
Okay.
DC shows. So, do you have a favorite line that you've ever said in the show?
I'm the justice that you can't run from.
Solid.
She was pretty hardcore.
Do you have any advice to anybody that might want to get into acting?
Study. I still go to class to this day. I feel like it's something I'll never master, but continue to evolve and grow. And I strongly suggest studying and go to class.
I love that. Just soak up all the knowledge because you can never know too much, right?
Exactly.
Can you explain what you do? You're an actor, right?
I'm an actor and a writer and sometimes director and other things, but mostly an actor. Known originally for a show called The Kids in the Hall. They used to be on HBO and Comedy Central and CBS. And then I did a show called News Radio for NBC with people like Phil Hartman and Joe Rogan, who some people might know from, he has a little podcast. One that people might know is a movie called A Bug's Life, in which I was this guy. I was Flick in A Bug's Life. And I was also in, I guess, Monsters University for Pixar as well. So that's roughly who I am.
That's perfect. I definitely will have to check those shows out because I love new TV shows, so I will definitely watch those. And we are big Disney fans here. So do you have a favorite role that you have ever played or a character that you voiced?
Well, Flick was a big deal for me because I'm a huge fan of animation. And I was a huge fan of, in particular, Toy Story, the first Toy Story movie when that came out. And I actually went to the audition. Mostly, I didn't think I'd get hired. I just wanted to meet the guys that created Toy Story. And then I was very startled that they hired me to play the lead character. So that was pretty amazing. Obviously, News Radio was a big deal, Kids in the Hall, all that stuff. But another cool thing I got to do is I got to play an astronaut. I got to play the fourth man on the moon, a guy named Al Bean, for a Tom Hanks miniseries called From the Earth to the Moon. And so I got to, actually we shot in Florida. We shot in Orlando. And got to work every day with Dave Scott, who was the commander of Apollo 15. He was the first person to drive the lunar rover on the moon, the little car they built for the moon. So I worked with him every day. And I got to meet the crew of Apollo 12 that we played, and also most of the Apollo astronauts by working on that.
That is so impressive.
Yeah, that was very cool. And I got to wear a spacesuit, you know.
Makes it even better.
Yeah.
Cool fits. Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anybody that wants to get into either acting or voice acting?
I guess the main thing is to do it because you love it, not because you expect to succeed.
Yes.
Because a good 90% of people that go into it don't succeed. So you should do it. You should do it just because you love doing it, and then just try to, if you want to be an actor, study. Like find a good place, good teachers to work with, and learn the skills. Hopefully you start out with some natural talent.
Yes, definitely.
But even once, no matter how much natural talent you have, you really need to then learn the skills, learn how to be a professional.
Thank you so much. Hey guys, I am here with
John Dell, inker for Marvel and DC Comics.
That is super, super cool. I love Marvel. So what is your favorite comic book that you've done?
I like Spider-Man a lot, so that's probably my favorite book to work on. And he was also my favorite character as a kid.
Have you ever met any of the actors that play Spider-Man?
Oh, if only, right? That would be cool. But no, I haven't not been that lucky.
Yep, gotta get on that. We'll figure it out. Do you have, what got you into comic books?
I used to read comics as a kid. I loved the idea of superheroes. I loved the idea of them doing good and fighting for and helping people out. And I just always drew. I always drew comics, even when, as long as the first time I held a pencil, I was drawing. And I was drawing Spider-Man and the Hulk and all that stuff.
That's awesome. From a young age, I feel like everybody loves comic books. So
yes.
Do you have any advice for those that might want to pursue comic book inking or writing?
Yeah, of course. Draw all the time. If you want to draw comics, just keep drawing. Even if the teacher throws away some of your best stuff, which she will, keep doing it and stay with it constantly. Do it all the time. Never stop.
And the place to be today is right here with Jazz.
This is going to be a super fun and amazing interview. Can you tell everybody what you do?
My name is Daryl DMC McDaniels. I'm known as the King of Rock, who walked his way in his Adidas to tell the world how tricky life can be. But today, DMC means Daryl makes comics. So I'm a comic book creator here at the Tampa Comic Convention.
That is amazing. So did you start with singing or did you start with comics first?
That's a great question. It was comics first. Before 60s and 70s rock radio, before hip hop came over the bridge in 1970 in the Queens from the Bronx, all I did as a kid was read, collect, and draw comic books. Kindergarten, I brought my first comic book, even though I couldn't read. So when I got to first grade, I said, I want to know what's going on in the comic books. So it made me pay attention in school. So comic books caused me to be a straight A student. So all I did was read, collect, and draw. Read, collect, and draw. Read, collect, and draw. My favorite comic books was Marvel comic books because Stan Lee was a genius. Rest in peace, Stan Lee, because he put the superheroes really in New York. So when I would read a Marvel comic book, I would learn about Harlem. I would learn about the Lower East Side. I would learn about Hell's Kitchen, and I didn't even have to leave my room.
It's the perfect mix. Like you get everything just from the comic book.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite comic book character that he's ever drawn?
Yes. My whole career with my band Run DMC, I was known for always shouting out Queens. DMC from Queens, Kings from Queens. I come from Queens, 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 Queens. Now, I wasn't doing that to rep my hood. The reason why I always shouted out Queens is because it's where my favorite character is from. My favorite superhero, he's from Queens. Peter Parker. Spider-Man lives in Queens. So when I found out Spider-Man comes from Queens like me, it was over. So, and the other thing I liked about Peter Parker was he was a smart kid. Because when I was growing up, I was a geeky, nerdy kid that got teased, bullied, and picked on. I was a straight A student. So when I would read comic books, it was the only place where I saw smart, educated, geeky, nerdy people who were going through different things in their lives, but they were badass and superpowered. So Peter Parker was a huge inspiration for me. Spider-Man gave me the courage to get up on stage in front of millions of people.
That is so,
Yeah.
I love that because Spider-Man is my favorite too.
Oh, right on.
Always has been.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that. And I
Thank
see you
you.
have your comic book.
Yes. For everybody that wants to know, DMC, which means Daryl Makes Comics. You can find it at your favorite comic book store or at your online. I think comics is cool because it allows kids to use their imagination, and imagination, education, and creation. With those three things, we can solve all the problems of the world that politics and religion can't. Yesterday, when I was here, we came up with a saying. Comic Con is the solution to everything.
Yes, 100%. And I know y'all are watching this digitally, but after you watch this video, make sure you put it down and go read a comic book.
Yes.
Definitely go check this one out because I think this one is amazing. I'm
Thank
going to have
you.
to check it out myself.
And the place to be with Jazz.
Do you have any advice to anybody that might want to do comic books?
First of all, read comic books.
Yes.
First of all, read comic books. And try to work a lot. And to improve yourself every time. To don't give up, never.
I worked for Marvel and DC and Valiant. I started in 1974, so I've been doing it a long time. And for Marvel, I drew all kinds of things, mainly the Avengers. I did a couple of runs on the Avengers, and I was the co-creator of the West Coast Avengers, and did Spider-Man meets Saturday Night Live, and a lot of Spider-Man stuff, a lot of Thor, a lot of movie adaptations. Yes, I met Stan Lee, and then I went to Valiant, an independent company, because they wanted me to both write and draw a comic, and it was something called Shadow Man that was set in New Orleans. This is that character. He's my ultra favorite because I got to draw him and reboot the series and deal with his look and that whole business. Valiant unfortunately went bankrupt when the collector's market failed. There was a big collector's market in the 90s, And like most collectors markets, it fails, and they fail, and in a relatively short time, all these collectors discover they all bought the same comics, and instead of being able to put their kids through school with them, they're worth cover price. And it affected a lot of companies, including Valiant. And after that, I went to DC and did Batman stories.
So with DC, with doing Batman, is Batman your favorite DC character?
Batman was the character that I knew the editor of.
Oh, wow.
And so a guy named Denny O'Neil, who was sort of a legend in the business. And so I called up Denny and said, Valiant just went under. I need some work. And Denny said, sure, come and do some Batman stuff. So that was why it ended up being Batman, although Batman has always been one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, it is such an impressive resume, and I'm looking at everything, and everything is amazing. Like, the detail is insane. You were very good at what you do, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job. Do you have any advice for those that might want to be getting into drawing comic books?
I do and I don't. Almost everybody's story of how they got into this business is a little different. I would say become very good at what you do. If you want to write or draw, either one, start with reality. I know that's going to sound strange to people because comics are so fantastical, but what you immediately find out when you start to work in the business is that you're having to write domestic scenes, that you're having to draw living rooms, and you're having to draw. I remember I had to draw a motorcycle for the very first time in my very first Marvel job, and I thought, how the heck do you draw a motorcycle? Learn to draw anything through shapes. Keep sketchbooks and draw everything. The hardest thing is getting something like a living room right, because everybody knows if that isn't a real chair. If you're drawing Dr. Doom's laboratory, nobody knows what that looks like, your version of that is like, except you. But you're going to find out that you have to draw houses, offices, schools, all of those things. And it's very helpful if you've at least explored the reality of things around you. If you're going to be a writer, that high school teacher who said, write what you know, was right. She just didn't follow through on it long enough. What if you're trying to draw a pirate? But who is that pirate? Maybe it's that uncle that always shows up a little bit drunk at New Year's Eve. Or use the people you've met, use the incidents in your life, because that's what you've got to work with. You own your life, and you can communicate that to others, and it will be always unique, even if the plot maybe is a little similar to other ones. The people in the plot, the details of it are the things you need to work on. As far as getting work, you have to hang out at conventions, talk to anybody who is in the business, get their suggestion for getting in, show them your portfolio. Don't get mad if they start criticizing you. That's what you're there for. Learn as much as you can. And lastly, be your own best critic. Decide that when the time to show your work is when you decide you love your work. And if you're going to be rejected, let the people you're showing it to don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. Decide that you're going to succeed and go forward, and just keep at it till eventually somebody will hire you.
I think that advice is so perfect for so many different things within the next generation coming up. So make sure you listen to him, guys, please.
I am a published cover artist. I do retail exclusive covers, and I do a lot of covers for my own exclusives.
Do you have a favorite one that you've done?
Yes, so far I've been really knee-deep in Ninja Turtle covers, but as of so far, the Tampa Bay Comic Con exclusive has been my favorite cover that I've done so far.
It is definitely super cool, and I can tell you have a very 90s flair. So is that like your favorite era? Is the 90s your favorite?
Yeah, I was born in '84, so a lot of my inspiration and a lot of toys, as most of us, toys, comics, and movies, has all been '90s, early '90s stuff. This actually cover is inspired by the Turtles first, Ninja Turtles #1, the live action with Raphael in the trench coat. So I had to do a little payback to my upbringing.
I remember that movie actually because I may have been born in the 2004, but I was raised on the 90s, so I definitely love all
It's
of
the
what
best
you did.
era.
100%,
It's the best era. Yeah.
Do you have any advice to anybody that might want to become a cover artist or?
Draw, and make connections with your local comic book fans and artists and shops.
My name is RZP. I'm from Connecticut, and yeah, I paint on street signs and all types of Eggo boxes, and yeah.
It's so creative, and I have not seen a booth like this, so it's so creative and so different. Do you have, like, what inspired you to start doing stuff like this?
So growing up, I would read Spider-Man comics. I love Spider-Man, love Ninja Turtles, and I just started drawing. Eventually, I got into graffiti, and yeah, I just combined the two. And yeah, that's how it came about.
Seems to have a very 90s flair, and I love that, as we all do here. We love the 90s.
I'm a huge Ninja Turtle fan. That's the reason why I started drawing. I also love Dragon Ball Z. I love the colors of the 90s. Like in a lot of the cartoons, the colors were just so vibrant and really cool. So I think that stuck with me up until now, as you could tell.
I feel like the more the vibrant the artwork, the more people are drawn to it. So I love that. And do you have any advice for anybody that might want to get into doing artwork?
Stay consistent with it. Draw as much as you can, and don't be discouraged, because you will get better if you stay consistent.
That is perfect advice for artwork and in life. So thank you so much. Hi everyone, I found this booth and the nostalgia is everything. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Tim Von Kloot. I'm a pop artist based on nostalgia of my childhood from the 80s through the 2000s. Everything I have here is all done by me with the neon and graffiti effect to it. Ninja Turtles to old school X-Men. Like if it was on TV growing up when I was a kid, it's probably here somewhere.
And I grew up with a lot of what you just said. So
Good.
Yes. Do you have a favorite piece that you've done?
More recently, these X-Men pieces are based off of the old 90s arcade game. This is the character select screens. So, and a lot of my artwork with the neon effect is reactive to black light as well. So
that is so cool.
That's kind of a little fun side effect that I found later on, but it seems to be a big appeal for a lot of people. So the neon and graffiti design kind of came from watching rail cars come in. I used to have a job working in a fabrication factory, and the rail cars would come in and out just covered in graffiti. And I was like, I wonder if there's a way I can emulate that with things that I enjoy drawing. So that's where more of the graffiti effect started coming out. And then, you know, with graffiti, I think neon is a great accent to it. So that was just kind of a happy side effect of the way the artwork came out.
Do you have any advice for anybody that might be wanting to get into artwork?
Yeah, just do it. That's the easiest explanation, is if you want to create, because creators want to create. It doesn't matter what it is, but if you have that yearning to put pen to paper or ink or whatever, work on it, experiment with it. That's the other biggest thing, experiment. A lot of this is out of experimentation. I didn't just wake up one day and go, well, I'm going to do that. Like this was nothing but experimentation, day after day, week after week. Put in the effort, because you're going to find yourself getting a lot of reward out of it. So
wait a minute, I'm here with
Jazz.
Oh, thank gosh. What got me into acting?
Yes.
I was a toddler, and my parents put me in front of the TV, and I was watching Looney Tunes, and I saw that Mel Blanc did all those voices, and I thought, I want to do all those voices too. I want to do voices. So I just started copying that, and that's where it all started, I think. when I was just a very little child.
And speaking of voices, I know most people know you from Fantastic Beasts and The Walking Dead, but I know you from an older movie called Horton Hears a Who that I watched all the time as a kid.
Nice.
So was that your first voiceover role, or?
I guess so. Yeah, I got to do 2 voices. I was Yamo, who was like kind of like a rough and gruff Brooklynese gorilla, and then there was the councilman chairman in the tiny world, in the Who world, and he was the one that was just all good on crazy things going on, and I call him. What are you talking about, you boob? That's that voice. And yes, those are the two. And I love it. As many as I can possibly do. I'm a happy man. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite role that you've played, whether it is a voice character or a movie that you've been in, or TV show?
I guess I'm always saying my favorite thing is the next thing that's coming out, basically. I did this role, Albert Grossman, in A Complete Unknown, that's coming out. That's the Bob Dylan biopic in Christmas. So I'm really excited about that one.
That one I feel is going to be super good. So do you have any advice to anybody that might want to get into voice acting or acting in general?
Is that what you want to do? Voice acting?
And acting.
And acting. I would say what I did was I got together with my friends and we created a show, and you can create a film or whatever, and you cater to your own skills. So you create a character and you infuse it with, all that stuff on your resume that you're like, fire breathing. I don't know when I'm ever going to do that. Put it into this character, and then suddenly you have this unique character that only you can play.
That's so true. And it looks like this could be a character, honestly, because your little artwork right here.
This is young Godzilla Jr., I guess. Some kind of gigantic octopus and an enormous puppy. And they're all fighting, and the squid is like, guys, come on, you can work this out.
Let's keep in peace.
Except there's an alien invasion. So what are you going to do?
I feel like we need to make that into a movie. Or a TV show.
I hope so. I think they already did.
Maybe.
Seth Rogen was in it.
Fair. Thank you so much for this interview and the amazing advice.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I used to be heavily involved in comics. I was for 20 years executive editor and publisher at DC Comics.
Oh, wow.
And before that, I had been working in TV and animation for a company called Mainframe Entertainment. We did shows like Reboot, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and the Barbie directed videos, things of that nature. And I took my time from TV and animation and moved in comics, and now I'm just back to basically doing some writing and just getting a chance to enjoy time a little bit more.
That's good. It sounds like you definitely started trying to do it all, and you were succeeding. You were very successful because DC is big.
It's it is. I was able to follow the flow of the business. Had some opportunities along the way that hadn't really got a chance to pursue things that I was always interested in. I always wanted to work in animation. It took me several years to get into there, and when I got there, got a chance to make the most of it. And then ultimately, another opportunity arrived where me being able to move over to DC, and I just went with it for the time I was there. Got a chance to do a job that I probably wanted to when I was a kid.
That's awesome, because our childhood dreams, when they come true, is so awesome. It's so amazing and fulfilling.
I always say that if you asked 10-year-old Dan what he wanted to be when he grows up, one of those jobs would have been editor-in-chief of one of the comic book companies, and actually got that job is kind of surprising, a little daunting sometimes.
You made it happen, though, so Congrats to you on that.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice for anybody that might be wanting to follow their childhood dreams in comics?
Yeah, here's the thing. You got to understand where you want to be and what you want to do. That's the first one. And you can understand also that you might not get there right away. The goal is to get into other places that might be adjacent to your interests. So you get exposed to that business, learn about the business, and make the contacts in the business. So therefore, when the opportunities do arrive or something does open up, you're ready and you have the knowledge and people know who you are, so they're much more comfortable and familiar with you.
So I guess you're an artist.
I am.
What inspired you to start being doing art?
So I started doing art like ever since I could hold a pencil. Like I just never stopped drawing. And yeah, I just kept at it. I was really inspired by like Disney movies and Star Wars and stuff like that. And it just kind of went from there.
I can definitely tell with your Leia outfit. It's super cute. So do you have a favorite piece that you've drawn?
I think I have a lot of favorites, but one of my favorites is I have like a Star Wars and like Friends mashup where they're all like sitting at the table drinking milkshakes. It's super fun.
Is that the one that's right here?
It is. It's this one right here.
I love Friends and I love Disney. So
yes, it's a good mashup.
Yes. Do you have any advice to those who might want to start becoming an artist?
Yeah. So I would just say just don't stop drawing. It sounds really generic, but like the more you practice and the more you just like push yourself to learn and just just learn new things and just keep at it. It's gonna get I'm not thinking of the word. It's gonna get a little bit hard and it's gonna get like discouraging is what I'm trying to say. But you just don't compare yourself to other people. You compare yourself to yourself and you strive for improvement in yourself and you just keep at it and you can get pretty far.
So can you explain to the people watching kind of what you do?
Well, I'm a prop builder, a special effects artist. I build large critters basically for my living now. Over the last 9 years, I built everything from the Hulk to Toothless and Light Fury from How to Train Your Dragon, the Iron Giant, Battle Cats from He-Man the Master Universe, and now I'm touring with this fella here, Appa, based on the cartoon Last Airbender, Avatar Last Airbender.
So what do you make those props out of?
Everything's a little bit different, but primarily styrofoam expandable foam. He actually has an air bladder in his back to save space, so it's a long blob that you jump on the lake, shoot your friend across. There's an air inflatable slide for his tail that saves space, but he still ends up weighing about 3,000 pounds due to the wood frame and that kind of thing. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, a little bit of work.
How long do those take you to make?
Anywhere between 3 months to 6 months. I did the Light Fury in 7 weeks, but the Battle Cats about 3 months, Iron Giant about 5, and he took it all, including the cabbage cart, the weapons, and everything in 6 months in total. So it just depends.
What made you want to start making these?
Well, I fell into it backwards, actually. I was working as a wellness coach trainer, and every Halloween I would go big. I had some background. I had an art degree. And then one year I kept saying to myself, about 8 years, I kept saying, I'm going to make myself a Hulk costume. I'm going to make this big Hulk costume. And I started building it, I finished sculpting, making mold, whatever. And I realized as I'm sitting there, it was so large that my hands couldn't reach the elbows. So I thought, well, forget this. I guess I'll just fill it up and make it sort of a freestanding figure. And somebody said, hey, you should take that to a Comic Con and charge people to take photos with it. And I said, what's the Comic Con? And the next thing I know, I'm doing that for a living. So it kind of felt, I did very well that weekend, thank God. And I put my 2 weeks in and started doing that for a job. And I did Toothless the next year, and the rest is sort of history. And it went well until COVID. Then it kind of hit the wall there, yeah.
It seems like that's a super fun thing.
It was a fun thing, yeah.
Is that, because that's your whole career, right? That's what
It's
you do?
my career now. I mean, I occasionally do commission work, but primarily, this is what we do, go from city to city. And I'm always looking for the next big idea, big build. So, yep.
That is very impressive. Do
Yeah.
you have any advice to those out there that might be wanting to do this too?
Yes, don't be afraid to fail. Fail a lot, plan to fail, expect to fail, learn more from failure than success. Know that it'll happen, get frustrated for a second, shake it off, and keep going.
That is good advice
Thank
in
you.
both career-wise and in day-to-day life. Hi, everybody. I am here with,
Joe Belcastro.
and you are an author, correct?
Yes, I was a television show writer for many years, and then I had to get this story out of my system and became an author a few years ago.
So this is your book. What is this book about?
So the idea of what if the devil banished God from heaven popped in my brain. I always wanted to do an ultimate good versus evil story. I was like, all right, what's the most provocative way I can do it? And I just wanted to structure it as an epic fantasy, but kind of keep it grounded in reality. Similar to like if you took Tolkien, which is high fantasy, but you took like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight and you meshed them together and kind of like grounded in reality, like I mentioned. And so, yeah, I had this idea. I wrote a trilogy, but I wanted to keep it, some supernatural action. Obviously, there's a social commentary. I have a purpose of why I'm writing it, but it's not so much about religion or anything like that. It's just more about who we are as people and how history has shown that have we really evolved? What are our drives? Stuff like that, but then also keep it fun and work in the humor, have some great action scenes that we're used to seeing on TV shows and movies these days.
That's awesome because I love books like this and I know a lot of people do, but is there an age range that you kind of play towards with these?
Yeah, I mean, I would have, tonally, it's more like Game of Thrones. So it's gritty, there's swearing, there's some humor that I think is playful, but it can be considered crass. I've had my family members tell me that. But no, I would say 18 and up, you're safe, for sure.
Perfect. So what is your favorite book?
My personally favorite book is all of Tolkien's works, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. I mean, I just gravitate towards those. I like fantasy, and I just like that you can take your time with those, and there's just always these epic moments that you just kind of lose yourself. Anything that like draws escapism, I'm in. And Tolkien does it the best, still to this day.
Yes, I agree. I love his classics, and I love how he says everything in the fantasy world. It's amazing.
Yep.
So would you ever think that this could be turned into a TV show or a movie?
That's the ultimate goal. You want that. But, from my television background, I wrote it kind of in a cinematic way. I'm not the type of author that lingers in for over 5 pages describing the castle wall to you. I just kind of here's where we are, here's the dialogue, let's get moving, keep the story moving forward. So ideally, I'd love to see it on screen. I'd love to have somebody else do it besides me so I can see their vision and just watch it as a fan.
Would you ever want to be in it if it did become a movie?
Yeah, if somebody would kill me, yes. If I have a death scene, absolutely.
We'll get on that. If it becomes a movie, we'll get you that
Yeah, that'd be great.
epic death scene. Do you have any advice for anybody that wants to become an author?
Well, whether it's an author or you're going to write a screenplay or a TV show, always just know where you're going, write out the outline, and remember, go big, because you can always scale back. If you write too safe, we don't know your full potential. I think that's something that a lot of people miss. Sometimes they want to just write to the market. Don't do that. You might get to that point, but go big, and then you can scale back if you think it's too much.
Hi, everybody. Today I am here with...
Mark Pellegrino.
Can you kind of explain to everybody what you do as a career?
Yes, I'm an actor, and the reason I'm here is because I've done a few genre shows like Supernatural and Lost and Being Human, and I don't think you'd consider 13 Reasons Why, which we're looking at right behind me, a genre show, but certainly something that's popular with the convention crowd. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite role of yours that you've done before?
I have to say I am very fond of playing the devil.
Valid. That seems like it would be very fun,
Thank
honestly.
you.
Do you have a favorite line that you've ever said in one of your shows or movies?
I do, and it actually comes from the devil, and it's, I don't know if it sounds devilish, but snapping necks and cashing checks, it's what I do. Yeah.
I like that. That's
Thank you.
very true. And your dog is so cute.
Thank you.
What is this little guy's name?
This is Frankie, and he's going to be 18 in October 11th. Yes, he's my old buddy. He's been my buddy for 18 years.
Oh, he's so cute. He looks
Yes.
tired.
Well, the Florida heat, it saps you. Even when you're in here in the air conditioning, you go outside for 10 minutes, you're ready to go to sleep.
That's very true.
Or am I just dating myself?
No, we said
Okay.
that earlier.
Okay,
It's been
good.
really oppressive this summer.
Yeah.
But do you have any advice to anybody that's trying to get into acting or wants to pursue it?
Yeah, work hard at it, and eventually luck will follow you, right? The harder you work, the luckier you get. So treat it like a craft, and compare yourself to other crafts, and ask yourself if you're working as hard as that guy, right? So, if you see a brain surgeon, ask yourself if you're working as hard as that brain surgeon, and if you're not, you need to work harder, and then you'll find that you'll get lucky.
Alrighty, guys, that is a wrap on Tampa Bay Comic Con 2024. 3 days worth of content, so many interviews, so many costumes, so many celebrities. I'm so excited for you all to see the footage and all these videos, and I hope you enjoy watching just as much fun and just as much as I had doing it. It has been a super long weekend. I am exhausted, but it was totally worth it. So definitely listen to all of the advice that was given and just keep following your dreams, everybody. So bye. This is Jazz, and you're watching Teens Wanna Know.